just to go over the agenda, and we certainly do have a packed agenda today. It will start with welcome and announcements, followed by the 23-24 program updates. We will also provide you some information on the administrative changes. That is the that's the meat of the meeting today. The calendar that you all will be utilizing for the 23-24 year, and also the template that you all will be using. We will also ask you for reports. I'm asking again that you will please kindly mute yourselves if you're not speaking. And also we have some time set aside for questions and answers. So just a few reminders from my end before we get started is the State Employee Credit Union People Helping People scholarship applications are due to the credit union by Tuesday, August 1st. So I hope that all 58 have at least one, if not two, students to submit to the credit union for review, and also to receive the $5,000 over a 2-year scholarship. Applications and supporting documentation for the North Carolina Health Careers, George Ballard, and Alan Ryan Todd scholarships are due to the system office by September 15th. Now, those scholarships and that information was in the scholarship guide that I sent out to the colleges on Friday as well. 16 applications were received for the Sam Taylor Memorial Scholarship. Those applications are going to be reviewed on tomorrow. That committee was selected. It's an outside group that we were fortunate enough to have one of our system office staff members to be a part of that review and selection committee. So that information will be going out. I will be contacting colleges to actually confirm student registration and also GPA. So the intent of that scholarship, because we're asking for the information so quickly, we want a quick turnaround, is so that we can get the checks to the colleges as soon as possible, hopefully to help students cover their tuition for the fall semester. So we're asking a quick turnaround for that, and we're certainly going to need your input. This is the first full year for the new North Carolina Community College Foundation Special Recognition Scholarship. Now, this is a scholarship that came about last year, and it's for students who have disabilities and also our veteran students. Those awards will range anywhere from $750 to $1,000. There is no published deadline for that particular scholarship. However, we do encourage you to get the applications into us as soon as possible for review. That's another committee that is made up of disabilities coordinators throughout the colleges. I think it's about 7 or 8 that review the applications. Last year, we had about 40 plus applications in a short period of time. So we're looking to receive more applications, or as many, that we will be able to award students who qualify. Now, the new thing for this particular scholarship, there is a separate application for it. That application has to be signed off by a disabilities coordinator, and also the students are required to register with Disability Services on their campus. The Wells Fargo Technical Scholarship, those checks will be prepared and will be sent out to your colleges by the end of September. I will notify you colleges when those checks are being put in the mail. Additional scholarships are going to be coming soon for our students who are enrolled in the teacher prep and or those certification courses and programs in which many of the students we found last year that were enrolling in those programs had already exhausted all of their financial aid or didn't qualify for some reason or another. Well, we found some monies, and we are certainly working on some criteria, and you will hear more about that particular scholarship soon, as well as any other new ones. We're hoping to have the teacher prep ready by the spring semester. And just a reminder about scholarships, just want to make sure that you all are, or you have a designee that will send the applications to the system office on behalf of the student. We don't encourage students to send the applications in themselves. If they are sending them in, they are being sent back to the student, and with instructions to ask the student to send them, take them over to the financial aid office or your scholarship area that handles scholarships, to send them on their behalf. So thank you so much for all that you're doing with our scholarships. I know it's a lot, and just want to share quickly the North Carolina smoothing money. We are certainly working on that. That is going to be an easier process for you than we had first intended. I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but I want to let you know that it will be handled through the CFI interface. And for many of you, you know what that will entail. It will kind of align as the North Carolina Scholarship program, or formerly Community College Grant and Education Lottery. So it will align that way. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Just as a reminder, if you haven't already gotten your targeted assistance, less than half-time, and childcare information in, the due date is tomorrow. I'd love to have all of our colleges report by the deadline, because there's some additional information that goes on our end that will take some time to gather and report to State Board in November. Okay. Well, they are all of my announcements. I said a lot in a little bit of time. I want to move on to slide 3 and just share with you all. We're getting into the meat of the meeting now. So if you have any questions, I'd like to ask that you will put them in the chat, or if you can hold them until our Q&A, because if your questions involve involve our finance team, we want to be able to have them available to answer those questions. So we ask that you kindly save your questions until the end, or if you have those burning questions, you can put those in the chat so that we are reminded of them. So for 23-24, you all, as I said earlier, received the allocations. Golden Leaf Foundation actually awarded us $2 million to give to students for scholarships. That's a lot of money, and I know that our colleges are able to use that funding. First and foremost, because a lot of our emergency monies have gone away, and we are looking for every opportunity to be able to provide scholarships and any other resources that we can to our students. So for this year, curriculum students can get up to $2,250. That is an amount that can be split over the fall and the spring semesters. If you want to do it that way, you can reserve just a little bit for the summer, but I do want to remind you that the award period ends June 30 of 2024. For our continuing education students, they can receive up to $1,850 a year. But for continuing education students, this money has to be awarded to students as you would a curriculum student, meaning if a student that's enrolled in a CE program, those students should have an award that looks like a curriculum student. So it should be awarded in the fall, it should be awarded in the spring. And if you're using that monies for the summer as well. I think I saw a question in the chat that asked if the presentation had been provided. I sent that information to the colleges yesterday afternoon, but I will certainly be happy to, if you did not receive it, I'll certainly be happy to send it directly to you following the call today. But it was sent out to the colleges, to the listserv yesterday afternoon around 4-ish. And someone said that they would send it to her. Thank you for acknowledging that or doing that for us. Now, the award period time frame for the Golden Leaf Scholarship Program, again, it started July 1 of 2023, and it runs through June 30 of 2024. I know those dates look a little bit weird, and they seem to be behind because we are at the end of July, but I want to point out to you that we could not submit that information to you until our board had approved, and our board meets usually the third Thursday and Friday of every month. So July 1, and that will incorporate or include your fall semester through June 30, which could run through your spring/part of summer of next year. So that includes, again, fall of 23, spring 24, and summer of 2024. We are going to be requiring some monthly reporting and for requesting payment of Golden Leaf Scholarship for this year. So where were we then and where are we now? And I see that someone has some questions on the continuing education Golden Leaf application and deadlines. We're going to get to that information. If you will, Zilma, hold your question, and we'll give you an opportunity to unmute yourself and ask those questions. Thank you. But Golden Leaf from then to now, how are we doing it prior, and what are we going to be doing differently? So in years past, colleges were often notified of their allocation once a contract had been approved or signed by the system office to the Golden Leaf Foundation. The scholarship would then go to state board for review and or approval. And following that, colleges would receive a notification of their allocation. At that time, colleges received funding as requested. However, in the last few years, all colleges received an allocation. So when I say that in prior years, colleges could either request monies from Golden Leaf to participate in the program, or they could say, nah, we don't have any students that would qualify. Well, in the past couple of years, with the increase in funding, the Golden Leaf Foundation has said, we want all of your schools to receive some of this money, which is a great thing. In addition to the financial, someone in student services notifying of these Golden Leaf funds, college, the system office finance team, someone from finance would also send out a memo to the business offices at the colleges, letting them know that, hey, you've got an allocation here, and these are your instructions on how you are to request this funding that your financial aid offices are asking for reimbursement. And we know that to be, we've heard the 112 before. I know our finance folks that are on the call are very familiar with that. Maybe our financial aid offices aren't as familiar, but they used a reimbursement process that they knew to be the 112. I'm not going to go into explaining all of that because I'm not part of the finance team and I don't want to make a mess this morning. But just briefly, that's where we were then. And now what we're going to is a process that we hope will improve our reporting, our receipt of monies, and also to ensure that we are in compliance. We've been asked or tasked to come up with a better method of efficiency so that we are not behind the ball, and that you all are not losing any monies that are for students. So for our business office and finance folks that are on the team from the colleges, there will be no more 112s. I don't know if that's a hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, but there will be no more 112s for our finance and business office folks from our colleges that are on the call. Now, financial aid, I hope that you won't get too angry with me, but we are going to ask that you all will be responsible for providing us with just a little more work, a little more detail, but it's not anything unlike, it's nothing that you're not used to. Reporting will now be similar to, I'm kind of associating it with the Summer Accelerator and Longleaf Complete reporting. You all have gotten in the habit of providing us with information on a monthly basis for those two programs. Golden Leaf is going to be similar. But the good thing about that is we want both of our offices, financial aid and our business offices, will certainly be working together a little bit closer to report student award transmittals. And I know that's two big words, awards and transmittals. So financial aid will award it. You also are responsible for getting information over to your business office to transmit. So you're going to be working on that information together. And you all will have a hand in on requesting those scholarship funds. We're going to be asking for that information. You will be asking for it on a monthly basis. So before I move to the next slide, I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions about anything that I've said so far. So if you've got any questions, if you will unmute yourself. If not, we will move on to the meat of the program. Do encourage you to continue to put the questions in the chat. I will be monitoring that as Dr. White will move on and take it from here.
Okay, Brenda, there's one question in the chat. Do you want to save that question until later?
Let's see.
And that one is from Zilma.
Yeah, I thought I'd already addressed that and let Zilma know that we'll answer that questions regarding the application and the guideline at the end.
Okay.
Yes. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. White.
Okay.
And many of you know her already. She's our part-time grants management associate, and I will be moving the slides for you, Dr. White, as you tell me.
Okay. Okay.
So take it away.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone see the slide that says college administrative process changes for reporting? Can somebody give us a thumbs up? Okay. So it looks like they can see it. Okay. Okay. So I'll say good morning again. As Brenda indicated, there will be new college administrative process changes, reporting and requesting payment effective 2023-24 year. So I'm going to begin with three of those items right now. The first of all, each college must submit a monthly report to the North Carolina Community College System in order to receive reimbursements for Golden Leaf Scholarship Awards that are transmitted to your students. As Brenda indicated, I know it seems like a little bit more work, but I think with the reporting requirement, it's going to be a pretty easy process for you. It may require a little bit more time. There is something different about this reporting. It is different than your interim reports. Of course, the information that we're going to request that you submit is going to be a lot shorter than your interim reports, but there is a certification requirement That's a little different than what you've used before. In the past, we've asked the financial aid administrator to sign off on the information that you're submitting. This time, the certification will also require that a business office representative sign the statement as well. We do not dictate as to who in the business office would verify the information that you're submitting. We know that we've always encouraged each financial aid office when you're submitting a report for Golden Leaf that you also verify that those awards that you've made are also documented in your business office. So we ask that you identify that person and that each month that you reconcile those records and verify the awards made before you send them to us. Your reports should be sent to me. In addition to that, your report should also be sent to the email address, which is FATSR at northcarolinacommunitycolleges.edu. Most of you are familiar with this email address. This is an email address that you always send your interim reports to as well. The information regarding the administrative changes, as Brenda has indicated, has already been sent to you. So you will be able to open that document and you'll be able to read further information. What I would suggest is that if you do have new staff members, or if there are questions and you still have questions after we do this training session, if you would like to request small group training sessions, we'll be more than happy to set those up for you because we want everybody to be able to follow this process and we want it to be very smooth. So I'm going to ask Brenda to go ahead and forward the next slide. Okay. College administrative process changes. This is a continuation of the information that I shared with you earlier. I want to make sure that all of the colleges are very familiar with the process for requesting payment. So that information is provided to you on the document that we previously sent to you. As I indicated before, training will be available if you need it. And if you have questions, continuous questions throughout the process, you're able to reach out to me as well. There's also going to be a document, the same document that Brenda sent to you. It'll be on our website, so you can always download it in addition to that. The calendar that you have been sent in your information includes the month. It includes the award period. It includes the college submission date, the day that you're required to submit your reports each month, as well as the processing date that we will process your information, the timeline, and also the date that we'll submit it to our business office. In addition to that information, it also includes the date in which the NCCS finance office will mail your payment to your school. So we want to make sure that you're very, very familiar with each of those. And I'm going to go over the calendar on our next slide. So I asked Brenda to go ahead and submit the next slide. Okay, as you can see, the college calendar for the submission period, you'll see the dates highlighted in which you are required to submit your reports to the system office. Please note that the July 1 through the July 31st date is not a requirement for you this year. That period has already passed, and we realized that our state board item for Golden Leaf was just approved last week. So you've just received your reallocation. So your first reporting date is going to be August the 31st, 2023. And that reporting date is going to be from August the 1st through August the 29th. The timeline that we will use to review your information will be from September 30th to October the 7th. We'll review the documentation that you forwarded to us. We'll check it for signatures. We ask that you check your information for eligible counties to ensure that everything that you submit to us is correct. And then we will submit it to the finance office on or before October the 9th, 2023, depending on when you submit that information to us. The payment date for October is 10/12, in which our finance office will send it to you. And what we want you to do is to make sure that you have checked your information, rechecked it, make sure that the certification signatures are there. And then, of course, as you go down the chart, you can see that I won't read each reporting period, but you can see the reporting periods, you can see the submission dates and all of that. We will not be sending out reminder dates to you to send your report in for your monthly reports. This is something that we expect that you will review the information that we send you. If you'll put your calendars in a place that you can easily pull them out, whoever's responsible for submitting the monthly reports into the system office, we ask that you put these dates on your calendar so that you can submit your reports in timely. If your reports are not submitted in a timely manner, they may not go in on the date, on the month that you sent them in. We do realize that usually during the period of July, sometimes even August, that a lot of awards have not yet been made. We encourage you to go ahead and beginning awarding your Golden Leaf Awards as soon as possible, so that you can get your reports in timely, and also so that your students will be able to benefit from the Golden Leaf funds that we're receiving from the Golden Leaf Foundation. We're excited about the fact that we are receiving the additional funds up to $2 million. This is a great benefit to our community college students. So we know that all of you will work with us to ensure that those needy students receive those fundings. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I'm going to ask you to move on to the next slide. And in this slide, this is where I want to talk about what is included in your template. And it's more or less a description. You have received the template. It has been emailed to you by Brenda, and each month is included in the tab section of the template. So you'll go through there and you'll pull out, since August is the first reporting period, then you'll submit the report for August. You'll go in and you'll complete the required information. It'll ask, of course, the college name, the award period, the reporting month, the student name, the student last name, and we'll go to the next slide. And also, again, for this report, we're asking for the county, the student, and where they reside. We ask that you make sure that that information is correct. And then we'll go to the, whether it's a curriculum or a CE student, the actual amount of the award that the student is requesting, and we'll also asking you for the total award amount. And at the end of the report, we're going to ask you to include a total for the column so that we know the reimbursement amount that you're requesting for that period. And we're going to go to the next slide, which includes the certification section. And I think you can see that it's on slide 10. And I just wanted to go over that so that all of you are familiar with it. It is different, so you need to stop here, make sure that you have your signature. We're requiring the same thing as we've done in the past with your interim reports. You can type a signature or you can copy a signature in. We also need that signature from your business office. We need to verify that you have reconciled with them, because our business office at the system office is requiring that this information is being verified before they send payment to your college. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide, which is the Golden Leaf interim reports. All of you are very, very familiar with the interim reports. This is still a requirement. Brenda mentioned it before to you. And so we're going to go over those required dates. I think some of you may have also asked questions about it. Also, before we go to the interim reports, let me just mention that we have additional counties that will qualify in terms of eligibility for your students. You should have a listing of all of the eligible counties. I think it was an increase of, I want to say 17 additional counties. Brenda, correct me if, please. I want to
Yes,
make sure.
it was 16 additional counties.
16 additional counties. So we understand that during the past year that quite a few counties were removed from the report. So you're going to have more students that qualify this year. So we want to make sure that you pay attention, become very familiar with those eligible counties to ensure that you pick up those students that are now eligible. Your interim reports will be the same as last year in terms of the information that we're requiring. In the past, in the monthly reports, I don't think we included the student's phone number, email addresses, but we're going to be asking for that information along with the program of study in the interim report. So it should be very common for each of you. It's nothing different. And with the interim reports, we will send reminders to you. We'll send out a reminder, but you'll have the dates. I'm going to go over the dates with you as to when they're due. And I would encourage you, for those of you who are responsible for completing those reports, to go ahead and put those due dates on your calendar so you can go ahead and prepare them. Even if we haven't sent out the reminder yet, you can go ahead, if you've awarded all of your funds, you can go ahead and send those to us. So let's go to the next slide. And on the next slide, I want to talk about those due dates for the interim reports. The interim reports will be at the end of the fall term for July 1 through the 23rd to 12/31/23. The due date is January the 15th, 2024. For spring semester, January 1st, 2024 through May 15th, 2024. Then the due date is going to be May 16th of 2024. And then of course, summer, for any summer awards that you made, then that time period between 5/16/24 through June 30th, 24. So we'll ask that you go ahead and submit your information by July 20th, 24. And then our final cumulative report is for the period, is for all of the terms in which we've requested information from you. That's the fall, the spring, and the summer of 2024. If you've made any adjustments in any awards throughout the year, all of that information should be reflected in your final cumulative report. And that report is due by October the 10th, 2024. And the the interim reports, all interim reports, and the cumulative reports are requirements of Golden Leaf Foundation. And that information has to be sent by the system office to the Golden Leaf Foundation. That is one of their requirements. So next, I'm going to move to password protective reporting. This is not different than what was required previously. The password protective reporting is also a requirement for your monthly reporting as well as for your interim reporting. I think most of the schools understand that. You do a good job, a very good job in providing that information to us. The directions have been forwarded to you, and you also have the directions from previous years as well. So we want to make sure that we remind you that that is a requirement and that you continue to do that as well. And I'm going to pause here for just a minute to ask Brenda if she has any comments before I move on to the next slide. And colleges, let me say this, you can get a copy of this information.
Yes, I don't have anything to add, Dr. White.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're at the point of questions. And so what we're going to do, I don't know, Brenda, if we're going to go through the chat to see if there are any questions
Yes.
that we need to address now. If there is something that is reference to our business office, we do have, as far as I know, they are still on the call. If for any reason that they need to go back and provide responses to you, then we'll make sure that we get those to you as well.
Okay. Dr. White, I have tried to answer the questions in the chat as they were being asked. So for the sake of people that are on phones, I will read the questions in the chat and provide those responses, and then we'll open it up for questions, other questions. So the first question was, I'm sorry?
I said, thank you.
Okay, the first question was on CE Golden Leaf. The application and guidelines document no longer shows demonstrate financial need as an eligibility criteria for the continuing education Golden Leaf. However, the allocation document and the application itself still shows financial need to be determined by the college. Is financial need still required for CE Golden Leaf? My response to that was, for CE students, demonstration of need can be at the discretion of your college. The Golden Leaf Foundation, and we understand that CE students do not complete a FAFSA, which we usually use to determine need, and suggest that I suggest, and so does the Golden Leaf Foundation, that demonstration of need for continuing education students can be as simple as completing the Golden Leaf application for the scholarship to help as many students as possible to cover their course or the program cost. Next question in the chat was, has anyone from the system office reached out to the BSAs and or the financial aid review team to see if there's a way to build informal reports that can be run and sent each month? With as much technology as we have nowadays, it is a little concerning that we're increasing the administrative burden on our financial aid offices by adding another manual report that needs to be processed every month. And my answer was, that's a good question, Joey. We had to make these decisions very quickly. However, we do welcome any assistance that our BSAs and or financial aid review team can provide to make this process easier. We want it to be as easy, as simple as possible for everyone. And I said, I know that your team was working on rules for the qualifying counties. So we do want to make this as simple as possible. And what I want to say is, I know that it looks like it's going to be very burdensome. And these were some concerns that Dr. White and I had and shared with our internal stakeholders as well. If you all are not awarding Golden Leaf on a monthly basis, you're not required to provide us with a report of any students. I know that the majority of the funding is awarded on a semester basis. So as you are making those Golden Leaf awards, I'm going to say in September for your refund period or whatever, we would expect a report at the end of September that would include all of those students that your college has paid Golden Leaf monies for. That way your school can be reimbursed on a timely basis for institutional monies that whatever your college is using to, for lack of a better term, front that money to the students. There was another question that what are the steps to opt out of the Golden Leaf program? We can provide that to you on a school by school basis, so we can get that information to you. It is a 2-week turnaround to get that information back and to be able to reallocate that monies to another institution. So if you want that information, just send an email directly to Dr. White and also copy me on it, and we'll get that to you. Another question was, we don't award Golden Leaf on a monthly basis. We award by semester. Do we have to report monthly when we're awarding 1 month out of the term? No, you provide the report when you are when you're making those awards. Brandy says at this time, we have not been given any information of any changes. Again, these decisions were made pretty quickly. I do apologize that you didn't get the information, but I don't know the impact that it has on your area, other than we would lean on you all for your assistance, Brandy, in helping us to make this process as simple as possible for our colleges, as far as running some informal reports and that type thing. So I will certainly get some information to you and put a request in from ServiceNow for your assistance on that. I think Tiffany Ingram had the same question that Donnie had, and that's already been addressed, as well as Tracy Rapp did. Let's see.
So there's a question, comment, Brenda, about sending the opt-out procedures to every college. And I think we can do that. Just send it out to everyone.
Okay. All right. We can, we'll do that.
And I think that document has to be signed by your college president.
It does. Yeah, it requires multiple signatures, and it's really, yeah, it's, we can get that information out to any colleges that want it. And Joey, I will go back and double check those ineligible counties so that to confirm that. And someone needed the presentation. If there are no changes from fall, spring, and summer interim reports, are we required to send a cumulative report? I just want to say, Sean, and to others, that the reason that we are asking for these spreadsheets, in addition to the information that is already on the dashboard, the information that's on the data dashboard, and you all do have access to that, it's a public facing dashboard, is the information that's on that dashboard is pulled in from the data warehouse on a nightly basis. So if a student's address is correct in Colleague, but their county, let's say they moved, their county is changed, it's different or whatever, and never updated in Colleague, we use the spreadsheets that you all are providing to us to compare it with the information on the dashboard. And there have been times where we have had to share the spreadsheet information with the Golden Leaf Foundation to confirm their information for payment purposes. So that is really what we're using that information for. And we do ask that you continue to provide us with those interim reports, because as you are making adjustments to students' awards, we could have a monthly report or whatever that shows that the student still has an award, but if it hasn't been moved off properly, there's some misinformation there. So hopefully with this new process, we will eliminate, hopefully by next year, the need to even ask for spreadsheets. And I know that we've made these promises before, but until we can get the information right on the dashboard in comparison with what you all are providing, we're forced to ask for duplicate information. And as many of you that have been here for a period of time, you all are well aware that we went through a program review with the Golden Leaf Foundation that entailed about 3 years. And honestly, I'm going to be as transparent as I can be today. Those 3 years are still open because, you know, we have not been able to match the expenditures, what your colleges have asked for in Golden Leaf funding, with the data, the student data that has been provided to us. So Golden Leaf refuses to close out those years. And again, I'm just being as transparent as possible. So manual processes, we hope to one day be done with them, but until we can get our data to match, we have no other choice. But I do want to thank our review team and BSAs for offering their assistance to just help us make these processes as smooth as possible for the colleges. And I do also want to thank our finance team for their input on helping us to come up with a process that we think will ease it for all of us. Let's see, the next one is, just want to make sure, Zilma was making a comment, so I'll just read it. Thank you, Brenda. Just want to make sure, because again, CU criteria shows 4 criteria, of which 1 is financial need, but CE only shows 3, need not shown. Thank you for answering. And Lisa Kortoff, I think the opt-out procedure should be shared with all colleges so we can make a decision. And as Dr. White said, we'll certainly make that available to all of the colleges. All right, so at this time, we're going to open it up for, I'm going to mute myself so that you can unmute and ask any questions that were not asked in the chat. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Quiet
So
as church mouses, I would say.
absolutely.
All right, so I know this is a busy time for you all. I do want to thank you all personally for taking the time out and for sharing your opinions about the Golden Leaf Foundation, the scholarship program. I know that this is not easy, but and we were very hesitant about making these changes, but we've got to all get on one accord. And, you know, we want to continue. We hope that you all will take a second consideration and continue to participate in the Golden Leaf scholarship program. It is certainly a great opportunity for all students. We are working hard to continue to get them to move away from just a few counties of not being eligible to making all of our North Carolina counties eligible counties, to make it fair for our students. And thank you to our system office finance team for being on the call. Again, as Dr. White has said, we do welcome any feedback that you have. If you don't want to talk to me or to Dr. White about your feelings on the Golden Leaf Scholarship Program, certainly reach out to Dr. Kelly and provide him with any feedback that you have. We thank you again for taking time out of your day. We want to make the Golden Leaf Community College Scholarship available to every student that's attending one of our 58 community colleges. And again, if you'd like some hands-on individual small group training, we are certainly open to that as well. Looks like we've got about 10 minutes that we're going to give you back of your day. I think there's some new messages down in the chat. Where can we get the updated list of eligible counties? That was sent to the colleges on Friday along with the allocation. If you did not get it, if you will send me a message, I will send it to you, directly to you, Max. Seeing no more questions. You've got about 9 minutes back of your day. Thank you all for all that you do every day for our community colleges and for the students, and for your help in everything. Make it an awesome day.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.